Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today I'm really excited to start a new set of videos where we're going to be covering tips for players who will be switching to PC Destiny 2 later this year. I've had a lot of conversations with friends, players, and viewers who are planning on making the switch to PC for Destiny 2, but are a bit nervous about switching over to mouse and keyboard. You know, you've been playing on controller for many years, and then you're like, my accuracy on mouse and keyboard is terrible. So these videos will try and cover basic tips, gear advice, how to practice in ways that you can sort of get a head start prepping for Destiny 2 on PC. You know, these videos are geared definitely more towards the PC beginner, so experienced FPS players, you know, you veterans of the PC FPS, you might not get much out of this, fair warning. However, I'll do my best to keep a general well-rounded approach in mind. For my background info, I actually grew up playing FPS titles on the PC long before console. I spent a lot of time with the original Half-Life, Counter-Strike 1.6, Unreal Tournament 2003 and 2004, and I'm a whole lot more comfortable on the mouse and keyboard than I am on the controller. Just so happens that my console videos took off 4 or 5 years ago, and we've mainly been covering console games since then, but I've been playing PC games for a very long time, and once you get comfortable on the PC, it's just awesome. It doesn't mean you can't go back to the controller and have fun, but there's something very addicting about the level of accuracy that keyboard and mouse can afford you and the skill gap that it creates. So today's video will be a very broad overview, starting with the fact that if you want to get comfortable on FPS games on PC, you need to start practicing now. You know, let's say you have your PC already, or you're going to be building a PC and have it sometime before Destiny 2. The best medicine you can have in your system, of course, is starting to play some FPS titles on PC now. Some of my recommendations would be games like Overwatch, CSGO, Rainbow Six Siege, Quake, Battlefield 1, Titanfall 2. There's even free ones like Dirty Bomb. I mean, there are so many great PC shooters that you can begin getting just your feet wet and what it sort of feels like to move around and shoot with a mouse and keyboard, because it is very, very different. Aiming and shooting on the PC is quite different because of two main factors. Number one, the level of tracking accuracy you can get out of a mouse is much more than that of a domed controller stick. Simply put, a skilled player can trace an enemy's movements or place their crosshair on that enemy's hitbox with much more precision than you can get out of a controller. Doesn't mean there aren't some absolutely incredible controller players, there are, but as a utility tool, the mouse gives you that extra bit of accuracy, so long as you're a practiced, well-comfortable player with your setup. The second reason is PC shooters don't have aim assist. Aim assist is that small, almost magnetic sort of sticky function that your crosshair sort of grazes across an enemy and holds just a little bit longer when it gets close to them. It's a mechanic you see in almost all console shooters to help players stay on target just a little bit easier. It's nothing like aimbot, but it makes it just a little bit easier to aim on the controller. On the PC platform with no aim assist and that better tracking, you ultimately have gunfights that play out quite differently. The best example I can give of this is watch some console Overwatch versus PC Overwatch, you know, Masters or Grandmaster level. The heroes and the meta are completely different based around the level of control that players have on mouse and keyboard versus that of the controller. You can also see this at play in games like Titanfall 2, in which the PC weapon tier list is generally quite different than that of the console version. There are weapons on the PC version of Titanfall 2 that are much higher up on the tier list on PC than they are on console, purely because the PC players have that added benefit of a little bit sharper tracking. On the mental side of things, I want to encourage you not to get intimidated by swapping over to mouse and keyboard. Yes, if you've been a very competent controller player for many years and you're coming into PC for your very first time, there's going to be a learning process. You're going to have to retrain your brain, you're going to have to learn new muscle memory, but you can totally do it. And I don't think it's a process that takes years. Rather, I think it's a process that takes weeks to months to just get, you know, basic comfortable, to get really sharp. And I'm not really sharp, by the way. I'm never talking about this from the standpoint of me being some sort of guru grandmaster, but you can get comfortable within weeks to months. And then you can also get quite good if you're practicing regularly for, let's say, you know, 3+ months. Maybe shorter, maybe longer, depending on you and your playstyle. One of the biggest pitfalls I see new PC players making is running way too high of a sensitivity. Now, most of the FPS titles I just listed off as suggestions for you to practice with, the default sensitivity is way too high. They always set it up to where it's just ridiculous. You know, you move your mouse 5 or 6 inches and your character has already done a 180. Seriously. When you get into PC shooters, take the time to learn about sensitivity for your particular game. It is far better to have a lower sensitivity that requires you to use your elbow as a pivot point and use your entire forearm across a large desk space than it is to only be moving your wrist slightly around. While that high sensitivity feeling is very agile and you can snap and move and twist around, it makes tracking and precision aiming a lot more difficult. So clear the desk space, get a large mouse mat, and don't use a sensitivity that's too high. In a future video, we're going to talk specifically about mice, keyboards, the switches for different mechanical keyboards, even chairs so that you can use your elbow as that fulcrum point. Just know that it is far better to have a little bit too low of a sensitivity where you're having to move your mouse over much further real estate than it is to have a really twitchy, super high sensitivity. And finally, one of the last things I want to note for the new PC player, at least in this overview video, is download OBS. Or if you have an NVIDIA graphics card, you can get Shadow Play. If you're on the PC, congratulations, you can now record all of your gameplay. This becomes an absolutely invaluable tool for you to watch your gameplay back and identify aiming mistakes. You guys know here on the channel, I preach watch your gameplay back as much as possible. There's no faster way to improve out there, and it's super true when it comes to the PC. If you're regularly recording your matches and watching them back, you can identify if you're over-aiming or under-aiming consistently and help sweet spot that sensitivity. You can slow down and analyze those really intense moments of action in which maybe you died and you weren't sure why, or identify little areas in your play that you could improve upon. Both OBS and Shadow Play are free and can be set up in a way that generates pretty small file sizes relatively for the video that you're getting out of it. And heck, you could even use it for content creation if you want to start uploading some Destiny 2 to, let's say, YouTube, or maybe even think about streaming. That's going to wrap it up for this video. Just a very broad introduction. Start practicing PC games now if you want to begin that comfort process of getting adjusted to mouse and keyboard. In future videos, we will dive into some of the gear aspects like monitors, keyboards, switches, mice, all that jazz. And I would like to do a more in-depth video diving into the details of sensitivity. If you could do me a favor, please let me know down below if you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, either in the comments or, drop a thumbs up, and let me know if this is something you'd like to see more of. It's certainly something I'm excited and passionate for, and the conversations I'm having with a lot of you guys is like, Destiny 2 is looking like it's going to be your first PC shooter, which is pretty stinking rad. So thank you very much for watching the video, have a fantastic day, and we'll see you next time.
Watch for widows.
Okay, there we go.